What's up, guys? I have the Nissan Titan, which is no longer with us. Moment of silence. And this was one of the last good V8s too. Now, let's go ahead and check out the numbers on the door really quickly. So you guys will see the axle rating out back is 4,012 pounds. Gross vehicle rating is going to be 7,300 pounds. All in payload is 1,280 pounds, so that is kind of low, not gonna lie. Should have got a XD, but nevertheless, we are towing about 9,500 pounds, which this truck is rated for, although towing capacity doesn't really mean anything. I'm all hooked up. This truck dropped 2.5 inches, which is so far the best half ton I've tested in a while. Love the way they set up their receiver hitch. Here's a quick peek at those leaves. So you have 4 leaves in that main pack, bottom one being a helper spring most likely. Let's go ahead and check out what's inside the trailer. So I do have all my wheels and tires out back. You might be able to see it better on this side. So yeah, there's some of them right there. The other side is the other two. Cars in here, so like I said, 9,500 pounds. You know, I didn't have a chance to do a lot of videos on the Nissan Titan. I kind of wish I did because I don't remember the trucks having the twin panel, but yeah, this truck has a twin panel. Also has cooled seats. This is a Pro 4RX, so it is a pretty high trim. Trailer brake is right there. Tow haul mode is right here. Let's go ahead and get down the road. I'm going to reset all this in the same spot as all the other trucks. I've tested the 6.2, the 5.7 HEMI, and the 3-liter Hurricane this week. So this should be pretty apples to apples for temperature. It's been like close to 90 degrees. It's hot outside too. So let's go ahead and get down the road and see how this 5.6 pulls. So why did Nissan retire this truck? If I had to guess, and it's pretty obvious, I think it just took too long to update the platform. I think that this is the only, second generation of this truck since it was introduced in the early 2000s. And they never did anything spectacular. Whenever I think about Nissan, I think about the salespeople. And probably the best thing they could say is, you need a truck? Because what does it really offer to the marketplace that's groundbreaking? When has it ever done something that was groundbreaking? Except for the 5-liter diesel from Cummins, which was kind of a flop. It wasn't that great of an engine. It wasn't fuel efficient. That was the biggest flop of it, wasn't fuel efficient. And it just towed okay. It wasn't a great performing diesel. And it was just unrefined. Had an Eisen transmission, was the biggest mistake they ever made. Because Eisen is just not built for these types of trucks. And so the Nissan Titan always just had a hard time competing in this segment, for sure. But here's what I'll tell you. If you need a reliable platform that can tow maybe something not this big, because this truck has no payload, as you just saw. It has no payload. But if you're looking to tow 6,000–7,000 pounds, I think this truck will do it with ease. Like, I'm doing 60. Let's go ahead and get up to 70. Let's see how it does. General grabber tires. They feel like they have stiff walls. I'll show it to you here in a second. They're not LT tires, which is a big letdown. And, you know, at 70 miles an hour, I mean, this truck pulls great. I think that Nissan has always built a great performing pickup. I can't wait till we get to the, you know, the 6% grade. I can't wait to see. I just got done testing the 6.2 GMC Sierra, and that truck just cleaned up today. Absolutely destroyed the Hurricane and the HEMI. Not even, it didn't even bat an eye, but it did have a Corsa exhaust on it though. So I love the mirrors. See, they did convex for their trucks too on both sides. So with this type of trailer, it's 28 feet long, 8.5 wide. I can see around it perfectly, no problem whatsoever. Now this truck has a 9-speed transmission. Nissan doesn't really tell you what gears you're in though. That's the only sucky thing. They don't tell you what gear you're in. So I can't really let you know, hey, the truck's in 6th gear. I mean, I'm pretty sure with the 9-speed is probably RPMs at almost, yeah, at 70 miles an hour. We're probably like in like maybe 6th gear, maybe 7th. Wide open throttle. That's probably 3rd or 4th. But yeah, I wish that they would show you the gears. That would be nice. Now I can lock it into 9th gear, but it won't tell me what gear I'm in, so yeah, not a big deal. Hopefully you guys can see. We're doing about, what's that, 72, 73? It keeps kind of bouncing between 25 and 30, 100 RPMs. I'm kind of going down the grade. Let me see if I can let it coast a little bit. There we go. Yeah, the sweet spot obviously when towing is going to be 60 to 65. Normally 63 is that sweet number from my experience. But I mean, it is kind of gear hunting at these speeds. I mean, at 60, 65, I like for it to hold steady. All right, let's see if it cleans up a little bit here. Yeah, not bad. It's going up a little bit of a grade. It didn't even, well, there it is. See, and it's not bad actually. Like I said, it's just the truck just needs a little bit more power. That's all. I just feel like if it had like maybe 20, 30 more horsepower, it might be able to handle this weight a little bit better. These are the General Grabber tires. It's going to be a 275/70 18-inch wheel. It's going to have 2,756 pounds of capacity at 44 PSI cold. And I would say these are decent tires too. They look good. I got to put a quick disclaimer in here. Number one, I don't recommend you tow a trailer this size with this type of truck. I'm only doing this for test purposes simply because there's no passengers, there's no gear. It's just me and my camera bag and the trailer. That's it. I'm doing this for 30 minutes, no fatigue. Number two, if you have an open car trailer and you're comparing my 28-foot enclosed trailer, they're two different trailers. I feel like I have to say that just because people will get in the comment section, especially like guys who are really sensitive for their brand. Not picking on Nissan guys, but sometimes Nissan guys are a little sensitive. Sometimes, not all of them, just some of you guys out there. It's like the GM and Ford and Ram guys. A lot of guys are just sensitive. Like they must get paid by the manufacturer to get sensitive. So with that being said, if you have a open car trailer and you can get up this grade at 80 miles an hour with more weight, good for you. If you're looking at this type of trailer, ask anyone out there who knows about towing. They will tell you there's a big difference between enclosed and open. Even if you have a gooseneck, I'm just saying, it just tows differently. So we should be to the grade here in the next 5-10 minutes, and I'll switch cameras so you guys can see the mile an hour. Let me go ahead and figure out this screen here. I should have did it before I left, but it's pretty easy. You just have buttons here on the steering wheel, and you can just kind of go through it. But yeah, I just want to show you guys the mile an hour. There it is, the tried and true 5.6 liter V8 by Nissan. This engine puts out 400 horsepower, 413 pound-feet of torque. All that power does go through a 9-speed transmission. You do have to burn premium, however, to get those performance numbers, which I did. Let's go and see how it does pulling up the grade. You guys see, we are at 4.9 before the grade. And let's go ahead and switch over. Here we go. Not bad. Really quickly. We're at a 4 degrees, so that's like 8%. What? What? that 9 speed is getting the job done. See, Ram has 8 speeds. Maybe they do need the 2 more gears for their HEMI and Hurricane, because this is making all the difference. See, it's not shifting, it's holding steady at 6,000 RPMs. Now, if it shifts, it's gonna lose mile an hour. So if it shifts, it's gonna go down. But this is pretty much next to the 6.2 liter from GM, and that had a Corsa exhaust on it. Oh, it almost had it. Oh, I knew it was going to shift. Had nowhere to go, so it had to. So it's kind of, it's really protecting the engine. There it is. But you know what? The HEMI and the Hurricane didn't do that. You know, I give this engine kudos. I give it kudos. It still outperformed the HEMI and the Hurricane. Good job, Nissan. Maybe Nissan can sell their engine to Ram. That's what they can do. That's an idea. Since they're not going to use the 6.4, that was a really good performance by Nissan.
Alright, that rear axle, I saw 210, 207, well, let's call it 207. Man, there's a lot of heat. Wow.
The intake is actually warmer. On that GMC was at 120. It's really warm under the engine bay of this Nissan Titan. Really warm. Now you might be wondering, why didn't I just show you the temperatures here, right? You guys see? That's all they show you. They don't really show you temperatures. But I'm behind a slow truck here, so give me 1 second so I can show you guys the downshifts. I just tapped the brakes and it did downshift. Come on. I'm just hitting the brakes, nothing's happening. I'm gonna hold it really good. Yeah, these transmissions, even with the Nissan, they just don't give you any input in tow haul mode. Like with tow haul mode on, when you tap those brakes, that transmission should be working. I mean, unless there's like a fail-safe for temperature and it's hotter than it should be and they don't want it to work it anymore. But yeah, like if your transmission's not working, that means your brakes are working, and it's almost 90 degrees outside, as you can probably see there. So that's the only negative thing, is I like to see more input from these transmissions. Something, because you don't want to be cooking these brakes in these temperatures. Even though 90 is not really that hot, trust me, I just use my temperature gauge when we stop is 197 degrees from the brakes, on the front brakes that is. And on that GMC, they were only 120, but it had a big brake kit, so better cooling, more surface. So yeah, I think that the transmission should be doing a little bit more work compared to what I'm seeing from these trucks, and none of them are good. They're all bad. Here we go. .2 mpg, 35.6 miles driven. This truck performed better than the HEMI and the Hurricane. Now, I made a comment, what did Nissan do that was groundbreaking? I waited till now to tell you guys this because I want someone to say it in the comment section, but yes, Nissan did bring out the XD. The XD was one of the most overbuilt, half tons, although some people call it a 5/8 ton, I believe. But yeah, it was one of the most overbuilt half tons in the segment. And this is not an XD. And it towed better than the Rams. And the Ram that I used was a Rebel, so the Rebel and the Pro 4X are competitors, but nevertheless, this truck outperformed the Ram 5.7 and the Hurricane, and it pretty much hung up there with that 6.2 liter, which has more horsepower and torque in comparison. But Nissan should have done better with this truck. They waited too long to really update it, and the truck feels cheap. It's not a nice refined pickup. I would say that's probably the biggest letdown, is it's just not as refined. It feels cheap. The cameras, like for the 360, are terrible. It's just not the best one. But if you can get a good deal on one, obviously, that's what made the difference. And that's why the Nissans, you know, stuck around as long as they did, because you could get a good deal and they did hold their value really well. I hope you guys liked the video. I had so much fun this week doing some towing tests. The only negative thing about doing these tests is they're hard. I hate doing towing tests. I probably spent $150 in 2 days just in fuel. $150. And keep in mind, like, I have to pull my trailer down here, so not including that fuel. So it's not cheap doing these tests, which is why I don't do them often. So support the content. See you guys soon.